right?
Okay. Doug, can you move the
Yeah, I gotta move all this
yeah,
stuff here, people.
he's got liquor bottles right here in the front.
No.
So. Okay. In the lead up to Christmas, emergency room doctor Hannah Michaels juggles her demanding job and a budding romance with EMT Wes Sullivan in Philadelphia. They spend time together as Wes helps her become more acquainted with the sights, sounds, and tastes of Philly. It's clear they're starting to fall for each other. Yeah, that's not a very good summary for this film.
No, it isn't.
This film was a mess.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were far too many things happening in this movie. I tell you, it was like watching a blended episode of Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD rolled into one.
Oh, and Hill Street
Really?
Blues.
Set
Yeah, it has
in
Hill-
a town that was supposed to represent Philadelphia.
Yes.
It has Hill Street Blues, or ER, that's been on for like 30 years. Chicago Med, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire. It had all of them. It was a hot mess.
Yeah, it was a mess. The
You know,
stories.
like rhyming that with either vanilla wafers or graham cracker.
We could rim
Make it really like Santa's milk and cookies.
We could rim it that way.
Ooh.
So anyway,
I had one 20 years ago. It was amazing.
With this movie,
she felt like she was watching Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not what I want in a Christmas movie. This film, it was okay, but Christmas aficionado is right. The cheesesteak place was too clean.
Yes.
It was definitely too clean.
And they were not as they should be more nasty and hissy.
But you see, for this movie, I thought it was. I mean, the concept is okay. It's just not what I want in a Christmas movie.
You could be an investor.
Truthfully, to me, it felt like a pilot for a television show coming to Hallmark Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. They were,
Yeah.
Because they were introducing so many characters. There were so many storylines. There were probably 6 storylines going. It reminded me, a couple of years ago, they did a restaurant movie about a Chinese restaurant, the Golden Dragon, that was closing down. And there were so many stories blended together. And it didn't make sense until the very end of the film when you saw everyone all together.
Yeah, but this didn't tie anything
This didn't tie together really well.
Yeah, it just... You were not invested.
Yeah.
It was hard to go...
She said, I will say this...
You would think with that many storylines that they would wrap up at the very end. But I mean, even the 2 cops that started to feel feelings for each other, they weren't even involved in the ER, were they?
I think they showed up to one scene because they were all intermingling.
No. They were at the fire at the very end, and they said, we need to cordon this place off. And then
Yeah,
they
but
split. That would have already been done. You don't need to go there, look at the fire, and say, "Oh, we need to rope this place off."
Okay,
that was stupid.
But Daniela says, I will say, like catching the clever Santa Summit Easter egg, those Santa hats and Dasher in the window during the Philly cheesesteak scene. Absolutely.
We did notice
that was a nice catch.
Oh, it had fire, police, and military. Oh, and medical. EMT. It had all of it. Have you guys watched Sirens? It's a little raunchy, but a really good show. It's a comedy. I devised it.
Yeah, the ending did work well. It did work well, but as a whole, it was just okay.
There's no spoiler alerts. This is what you're watching. This doesn't spoil.
We watch these movies so you don't have to.
Yeah. So, what did I just throw up the garbage can?
Kicked over a little carrot.
So yeah, we're 3s. Benjamin,
3.
And
I
Sherry,
didn't see anything this week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to Saturday night's movie, which was the highly anticipated sequel, 3 Wiser Men and a Baby. The story begins 5 years later with the Brenner brothers preparing for another memorable Christmas. In a crazy turn of events, possibly brought on accidentally by the brothers themselves, the director of Luke's son Thomas' Christmas holiday musical steps down. Actually, he didn't just step down; he outright quit.
Oh yeah, I loved him in the Huff.
No.
So Luke was desperate to make the show happen, and so he gets his brothers to help him. His brothers Taylor and Stefan. Rhymes with muffin, as it was mentioned in the movie. Meanwhile, the trio navigates meeting their mom Barbara's new boyfriend, and the brothers grapple with their own feelings about their relationship. Now, the thing is,
They're grown men.
her boyfriend was a pastor, and they were very suspicious because no one could be that nice. No one could be.
Everything was goody goody two shoes.
But I'll tell you, I liked this one.
I loved it. It was great to see it all come up. It was, if you watched the first and watched the second one, it was very cohesive. And the very end, Kimberly Sestat, after the play, she goes, "It's really hard to top the first show you're doing," because she and Paul wrote this.
And Christmas aficionado says, "Did you know that Roy's good with his hands?"
Oh, he was very handsy.
No, handy, not handsy.
I thought he was handsy.
No, handy.
Oh, I thought he had big hands and he was handsy.
He's good with his hands.
Oh.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, they were going to get a new daddy out of this Christmas. I love it. I love this movie.
Can you give us a Dougism for that, please?
Sure.
What did I say?
Thank you.
You got it.
Handsy.
Okay. It was a nice revisit of the family. I liked seeing how the brothers had developed or had regressed in some cases.
Yeah.
Taylor, obviously played by Tyler Hines, the girl that he had dated originally, then she dumped him because of how he was. This was in the first film.
Yes.
She was nowhere to be seen. So obviously, she wised up.
They never got back together.
No, they did not. He was still. Oh, yep, there he is. Taylor's double, free spirited.
That character was awesome.
Yeah. Caroline, fantastic match.
She's me. And I thought it was great.
Actually, she's a better version of me.
Yeah, she's a better movie. I love how she says, "Yeah, I live in my mom's basement and everything." And when he heard that, it's like, oh my God, that's me. I loved it. Loved everything about it. It was just, I was smiling and laughing.
Sherry, of the 3 films this weekend, this is the one you will want to watch.
See.
You will want to sit down
and
and watch this one.
I'm sure Tom will want to see it because he liked the first one last year.
Yeah.
It was 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago, whenever it was. He really liked it. So.
But it was truly enjoyable, and a surprise to me was the little actor that played what's his name? Thomas, the little kid?
Oh, he was good.
Very good little actor.
And the little Asian girl who just kind of blossomed at the end, and come to find out the dad is the one who wanted to buy the video game. Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah, so it was definitely, I gave this one a 9.
Yeah, we gave it a good strong 9.
I gave it a 6. I was a little disappointed with it, but I may have to go back and rewatch it because it could be that I was falling asleep through it because I was so exhausted yesterday. So I'll have to go back and review it. But I thought, this is the same story just rehashed all over again with an older child.
Okay.
So for me, I didn't feel the movie needed to be made, but I may have to review it.
You really need to pay attention.
Yeah. Ben, you mentioned rehashed. The film that we saw last night, To Have and To Holiday, was somewhat of a rehash of Christmas with the Sings we just saw a couple weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, it was the exact same movie.
It was.
The father of the bride was just so ridiculously over the top hating his soon-to-be son-in-law that I couldn't stand watching.
But wasn't he a pastor?
When did that matter?
Yeah, a nasty pastor.
Yeah, he was a pastor.
The Sings movie.
Yeah, that would be a difference in the movie, but the attitude of the fathers was the same, and I hated it. I gave it a 1. I don't need to talk about it anymore.
Absolutely. Christmas aficionado says yes. This one was worthy of a sequel. It was a good sequel for 3 wiser men and a boy. But this one, Celeste is engaged to Jason after just a few months of dating. Sherry, you can identify with that, but instead of a few
Yeah.
months, it was a few days. Father and couples would be efficient. Pastor Mark insists on putting them through a pre-wedding boot camp, which he does with all his people that he marries.
If they don't pass, I'm not going to marry her.
No. That's not how he said. He says anyone that goes through this test, if they don't pass his test, he does not marry them.
And he pretty much meant that I won't marry her.
And in this case, he was setting it up to fail. He started with one of the first tests being making a gingerbread house where they had to argue and discuss every single detail about a house that they would build together.
Oh, brother.
And the thing is that this is an exercise. Even the pastor's wife said, "This is not a first week test in boot camp. Why are you doing this? You're setting them up to fail."
And the pastor's wife, is the town mayor. And it was hokey. The pastor was
So
a petulant.
in other words, she was the mayor of the town. She could easily marry them herself if she wanted to in City Hall.
Probably.
Yeah, she could.
But he was a petulant child. The mom was kind of along with it. She saw the love and she's like, this is great.
And did you watch the whole film?
No. I did watch the whole movie. And the thing is that you have to remember that in a scene of the movie, the mom actually goes out of her way to say, my marriage started in a justice of the peace. And that's because my parents weren't up, or my father wasn't up on my marrying this man. So she already knew what the fight was going to be about. So she was all in on supporting her daughter.
I'll tell you this.
And I said good for her. And that's the only thing I appreciated about the movie, which is why I gave it a 1.
No. One thing that I really appreciated about the film was the fact that both the daughter and the pastor's wife called him on the carpet for his behavior.
And laid into him.
They laid into him hard. The daughter, Celeste, did not hold back. And then his wife, the mayor, said, "You know what? You embarrassed the family, not just in front of the family, but in front of the whole town." And he said, "When did I do that?" And yeah, he had.
Yeah, he was nasty when, because he was like, I know a guy. The guy was he had a huge network. So he was very well connected. It was much better than the Sings, but it was like, if they pull me one more time with this, they want to get married and the father's having a major conniption fit, I'm not going to watch the movie. Hallmark, enough. This is 2 movies of the exact same concept.
Yeah.
But to be fair, not having seen the movie, but to be fair from experiencing life, most fathers are like that with the guys that their daughters are going to marry. Because they never feel, I mean, my dad wasn't, and Tom wasn't with Matt, but
No,
a lot of my friends had the same kind of thing where the dads just did not.
Well, Sherry, the story was also complicated by the fact that she had broken up with her longtime boyfriend. His name was Dean. He worked at the church with the pastor, and that's who he wanted her to marry.
The pastor.
So he was pushing to kill this marriage at any cost,
because he didn't like how
in real life. So
it was. There was a lot of real life, but
there
was a lot of Christmassy. It was a lot of real life, but it's the same trope done over and over again. Yeah. We do not need to see this movie. The first one was done,
and
it just was not good.
The robot dance finale did come out of nowhere, and it did feel a little odd, and
there was a lot of
tacked on
oddness things.
But I gave this one.
We gave it 6 because we were going to get in the middle of the road, because it was either not super bad, but it wasn't super good. But we were being kind because it was way better than the Things. But I like the mother and the daughter laying into the guy. That gave it an extra crown. So I was maybe joyful, and in the Christmas spirit, I gave it a 6.
I'm sorry, I give it a, what's wrong?
No, him in the Christmas spirit, he gave it a 6.
Oh yeah, I gave I gave it a 1, mainly because it was just a rehash of the same film that we saw a couple of weeks ago that I couldn't stand either. So why would the people or the powers that be at Hallmark Channel greenlight 2 of the same movie in the same year with such similar storylines. It
Okay.
just was so stupid.
It was bad.
Our Hallmark savant Paul Eichenlaub gave this film a 3 equivalent to us, 1.5 Ben burritos. He gave Friday night's movie Christmas on Call also 1.5 Ben burritos, and for the film of the 3 wiser men and a boy, he gave that one 4 Ben burritos. So
That would have been
his scores were very similar to ours. So with that in mind, our averages are showing up now where the Eichenlaub Ben burrito average out of 5 burritos total, he's got a 2.6, so he's about halfway there. For us, the Gold Crown average out of 10 is 6.1 for all the films that we have seen so far.